What up, folks? Look, it's the SEC Connect, man. You got myself, you got Ty, we got Chris with a K, we got Steven, and Jay's not gonna be on tonight. He's somewhere on the beach right now with his feet in the sand. I'm jealous, Jay, but it is what it is. He won't be back until I think Sunday. But hey, man, it is episode 31 of the SEC Connect. Guys, we got 31 episodes, man. That's 31 weeks of talking to you, all you dudes, man. What the hell is going on? Um, I know this is the
And
SEC Connect.
ladies.
I'm talking about on the panel. Ain't no ladies on the panel.
I meant, no, go ahead. I thought I was talking about the viewers too.
Oh yeah, and the viewers too. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Look here, man. This is the SEC Connect. We're going to talk SEC ball, but I think there's a topic that Ty's been kind of floating around in the back that I think we all need to kind of address here for a little bit. And I kind of want to start off with a little bit of University of Michigan and the allegations of the Spy Gate. Ty, I'm gonna let you start this one off, big dude.
I mean, I genuinely start off every day wondering if we're in the twilight zone. I've said it multiple times this year, and every time I say it, it feels like a week or so later something else comes out that's just sillier. But I feel like it's just like we're getting memed on. This whole season is just someone is pulling a meme, right? And this Michigan stuff, it's the latest business. Have y'all seen Josh Pate's tweets
Oh my God, yes.
with Connor at the Central Michigan game with the sunglasses? That Josh Pate is then quote tweeting with the Ray-Ban sunglasses that have the camera built in, saying that it was the same sun. Like, this is getting to elite levels. First and foremost, I would like to think everybody would have someone on their coaching staff with that work ethic and dedication, because this man was everywhere. This man was everywhere scouting signals. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in Abu Dhabi seeing what they're up to out there. I mean, they're making cheating just the end topic. I don't know. It's every day it just gets wilder.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Chris, how about you? Because you had some comments today earlier too, man.
So let me back up all the way to when this first started, and we were talking about this in the chat. Because I think I was one of the first to put it in the chat, and I simply said this: how the hell do you steal signs and still get beat by TCU? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
So
But
did you hear the rumor?
What's that?
what's the other
The
rumor?
rumor is that TCU was notified.
Yeah,
That was a concern, and that
Mhm.
what they did is they kept the same signs but switched the meanings, and so that they still had all the same signs but were doing different things with those signs.
I
That's
remember
the
that.
rumor.
You know what's crazy is Michigan has so much talent that they still almost won the game.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's not necessarily that. I mean, just like that, just like kind of what we've all talked about. It's not that it's not like this isn't happening all over the game, but the way that they went, the effort they put into all of that is just crazy, man. I mean, it's crazy, it's genius, but it's just wow. And to think that like I've said before, I don't know what Harbaugh has done to piss off the NCAA, but he's done something. I forgot, Ty, I think it may have been on your show that I said this, but hey, um, he's basically become the college football version of Bill Self. He's done something, and they're coming after him like crazy. So I really don't know what to make of it. I just know that it's the mannerisms, the silliness, and all the rest of this. So on two fronts, I'll say this, and I'll pass it off to Steven. One, I'll reiterate something I said earlier on somebody's show. I forgot who it was, but don't tempt Harbaugh with a good time. It's not like he hasn't been looking for an NFL job anyways. So if y'all want him to exit, let him exit. Y'all want to give him a show cause where he can't come back and coach a team in the NCAA for 5 years, so be it. He'll go off and sail off into the honeymoon. But on the other end of this, I will say this. this is the worst situation you could be in if you're Harbaugh or if you're Michigan. Why? Because we don't know what the NCAA is going to do.
Nothing.
We don't even know what they're capable of doing simply because they don't know what they're capable of doing. So the fact of the matter is that now you're making them look foolish because this is becoming, honestly, Roger Goodell like. So instead of having one real leader who's making these decisions and it's coming from him, you have a panel of X amount of many people who are going to make a decision. There's no telling what repercussions the University of Michigan and John Harbaugh is going to see. So I think it's really interesting because I think on one end you have a coach who really doesn't care, but then you also have the NCAA who feels like they need to send a message and make an example out of this right here. So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting, man. Steven, how about you?
The whole thing it's just funny, I think, more than anything else, because this isn't like things that are really bad, like drunk driving or street racing or women issues or, performance enhancing drugs. Like, they haven't really been caught up in that stuff. Even the stuff they got suspended for, him, the offensive coordinator at the beginning of the season, it's like goofy stuff. Mm-hmm. This is goofiness to me. Yes, it is. It does compromise the integrity of the game. Yes, you shouldn't, when was that Jim McElwain over there at Central Michigan? Who was that? Or was that a guy that looked just like Jim McElwain that was over there? No, that was Jim McElwain.
That was Jim McElwain, I'm afraid.
Oh my God. The guy's like, yeah, we have no idea who that guy was on our sidelines and all this type of stuff. That shit cracked me up, y'all. I mean, from the simple fact, like, you have somebody who's out here like Frank Abagnale Jr. and Catch Me If You Can on the staff that's just making moves. How are we not just laughing at this? Like, in all seriousness, like, bro's in multiple disguises. Bro is like a Marine. Like, he knows how to, compromise and all sorts of scenarios and mind tactics. And Jim Harbaugh, every year, to me, he's the most successful coach I've ever seen that has 1 foot in, 1 foot out every single season.
Yeah.
I mean, he uses the NFL as a bargaining chip whenever he needs to.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Josh McDaniels just got fired today, by the way, from the Las Vegas Raiders. Mm-hmm. And every single job that pops up, his name is always present, knowing the success that he did have at the NFL level and the success that his brother continues to have at the NFL level. So at the end of the day, I just laugh at this. The Michigan thing, I will say, yes, and Ty has been kind enough to even make this point in private. You have to judge the intent. You have to judge, when any of these things are, that's how you have to police the situation. But there's not one outcome I've seen from Michigan where they didn't win a game they weren't supposed to win. They're an uber talented team, and there's not been one game where I'm like, that looked fishy, right? So it's just goofiness to me. Mm-hmm. But if the block gets too hot, he's going to go to the league. Mm-hmm. And the NFL don't give a damn about that. That sign him right up. That's what we do in the league. Is steal signs. He'll fit right in.
So two things I want to piggyback off of what Steven said. First off, Lincoln Riley envies Harbaugh right now, simply because he wishes he could have 1 foot out the door and 1 foot in, right? So he wishes he could be in that situation.
Shit, they're coaching like they have 1 foot out the door up there at USC.
but second point is just simply like, hey, look, they're the Houston Astros without the end goal, without the actual gold, without the actual championship. That's pretty much what this is. And I don't necessarily know if you could say they've made a mockery of it. It's just the fact that this Connor Stallion guy is everywhere. It's almost like he has 30 clones, and he's just out there.
It is efficient. Listen, let's not question the
But-
efficiency.
But I think we reached an all-time low whenever we're talking. I'm just gonna be honest with you, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's program, but I am about to throw a little shade. You reach an all-time low when you possibly have this dude at a Central Michigan game. What the hell is Central Michigan going to do to you? That's all I gotta say. I'll leave it there.
So look,
He's
They-
sharpening skills. That's what that is.
yeah, exactly. They stole signs all last year, right? Now I'm looking at some of the games they had last year, and just how close a couple of them were, right?
Mhm.
That Illinois game, 19-17, at home.
You notice
know?
they haven't.
Illinois' defense, though, to be fair,
Yeah, I get it.
Illinois they got players in the league making noise now.
I understand it, but you don't think them knowing the calls didn't give them a little bit of edge on that 2-point game at home? Like you couldn't. Come on, man. I know Illinois, but we're talking Illinois, all right? We're talking Michigan. Who
I know
continuously
last year's Illinois team was not a normal Illinois team at all. That's all I'm saying.
And so
that was not a normal Illinois team.
You got that game, and there's one more game that was kind of close. Which honestly, I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Iowa was 27-14. Iowa can't score more than 10 points a game. So, for them to get 14 points,
I was about to say,
it's really good.
Did you notice that we haven't seen any footage of Stellan at an Iowa game?
Yeah, I like Iowa,
That's
right?
just wasted money.
They
You wouldn't send them to an Iowa
They
game.
can't
That's
score
just a
10
waste.
points a game. All right. And the only team that tricked them up was TCU, right? Because they understood that the calls were coming in. And so they switched the game plan up. And they got 51 points put on them. So
here's a question I have for y'all. See, y'all remember when Harbaugh released that rap video when he first got to Michigan, right? If he beats these allegations, what's the over-under that he releases another rap video talking about how he beat the FBI case? I mean, he is going to be a menace on this trail.
10 toes down, he ain't snitch either.
Standing on business, right?
He's standing on business.
Harbaugh never ceases to amaze me, man. It's year after year of this. But I think this is the perfect way to close this. I heard a guy on the Feinbaum show talk about how the person who this all basically sucks for the most is CJ Stroud. Because he tried to spin it as though like, well, CJ Stroud could have been hurt. CJ Stroud, because they knew the plays and all the rest of this stuff, that cost him a Heisman. That cost him this. I'm like, first off, I mean, Caleb last year was, I mean, hey, come on now. But at the end of the day, they're like, that really cost them, because it's like, it's crazy to see the difference in CJ Stroud against Michigan and then come out there
against Georgia
and
whoop
light
ass.
them up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought he had an interesting point, but it's the fact that, Feinbaum kind of said, he's like, we don't really have all the proof right now, but that was almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's coming out, man. This stuff is fun, neat, man. But look, I want to address this comment, from Stephen G here, where he goes, since the Raiders made a move, who gets the spot? Tebow or Harbaugh? So, look, man, I'm gonna say it like this: it doesn't matter. It's gonna be them, and Chicago's gonna have an open spot too. So both of those guys are bolting, I think, and one of them's going to one. I would say probably Jim Harbaugh goes probably to the Raiders, I would think, and I think the Bears should open up because they have a horrible team. That's going to be for Lincoln Riley, and I think they draft Caleb with the second pick of the draft.
See, I think that's what should happen, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Name me a more Raiders move than going and getting Lincoln Riley. Think about the way the Raiders draft for a second. What would be a more Raiders move than going and getting Lincoln Riley? And Harbaugh, I think, would be perfect in Chicago. I think him at Chicago would be really interesting.
He's also a former Chicago Bear. Jim Harbaugh was.
I think
he is.
that'd be
But
really
look, he over here cheating and stuff right now. That's that Raiders mentality, baby. You know what I'm saying?
But to be honest with you,
that's that Bob Bears mentality.
To be honest with you, I would love to have Harbaugh with Chicago. Why? Because Harbaugh would turn Justin Fields into a Pro Bowler. I promise you he would.
He's done
I agree
more,
with that.
Yeah, I do too. He's done more with less when it comes to quarterbacks. He
I think
definitely
would. He's what he needs. He's what Justin Fields really needs right now. Because if Justin Fields doesn't, if they hire Lincoln, you know what's happening.
Yeah,
there.
Lincoln's getting Caleb. Unless they hire Lincoln and tell him Justin's our guy, don't give a shit about Caleb Williams. But I don't think that's going to happen. Man. Oh, hey, Steven, comment for you here, man. About RJ.
Yeah, Dustin. So RJ and I, we did some videos way back in the day during the Sam Ellinger, Kyler Murray days together. But he is obviously, moved on to great things over at Fox Sports. So wishing the best to RJ. But we have some videos in the past if you ever want to go back and search them on both our channels.
Yeah, this is another one good here. So Chargers or Raiders. Yeah, Chargers have kind of been underwhelming this year, but they picked it up the last couple of games, haven't they?
Yeah, but see, the problem is for me with the Chargers is, I mean, are you really going to go and move on from Herbert? Herbert's not.
No. I think they're talking.
No,
about
you would go there. You would want to go.
Yeah,
you would want to go coach Justin Herbert. You wouldn't. No.
Yeah,
the Chargers, they won, so they beat the Bears in that horrible Sunday night game the other week.
That's right.
But they had lost. They had lost back-to-back games to the Cowboys and the Chiefs. And the thing is, in that division, you're competing against the Kansas City Chiefs for the next 10 years and Patrick Mahomes and everything going on there. So you're going to have to find somebody. And on top of that, you're the second banana probably in your city behind the Rams, who have already won a Super Bowl there. So you really, really got to come with it if you're a coach. I want to make a point about the Stallions guy. One more point about this guy. Only because... Why are you laughing, Nino? I haven't even said anything yet. I just want to make one quick point about the guy. I do think that this speaks, like we celebrate these young, ambitious interns turned coaches for the crazy things they do. That's one of the big reasons why somebody like a Dan Lanning stands out, because he was doing some crazy-ish back in the day as he propelled you. You want to know how guys that young get to be in the spot that they are? Those are the guys that are, they're the ones that are cutting their hand with blood and they're making blood oaths to the school, to the coaching staff. I am willing to do whatever it takes. That's what those guys, those guys that ascend very quickly behind the scenes. Those are the guys that they'll cut off their long-term girlfriend. They'll live out their car. They're going to cut up tape. They're going to do an amazing job. But whatever it takes for the head coach, for the offensive coordinator that week, they become that guy in the program and they ascend. And so I think that there's something to be said to that culture within coaching and within interns, where you start to see, we live in a world right now where you have people that are so many extremists, right? Whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whatever we're in. So is it a surprise that Michigan might have a full-blown extremist on his staff? Do I think Jim Harbaugh asked him to go to Central Michigan and do all that? I mean, at some point, it's like, bro, you're moving at a whole nother level, big dog. Trying to get seen by your leadership.
But the crazy part is, I don't think Jim asked him to do it, but Jim knew about it. He didn't tell him to stop.
Oh, hell yeah, he knew.
Where's Connor? I think he's okay, cool.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys, I know this is SC Connect. Well, look, we had some pretty boring games this weekend, so we're going to have a little fun tonight, okay?
This whole thing reminds me, have y'all seen that South Park episode where Cartman teaches the kids to pass the test by cheating?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen South Park. I remember that one.
This is exactly what it feels like, and he's sitting there just trying to convince them that the only way you get ahead, just like Bill Belichick in the New England Patriots, is you cheat.
Yeah.
And that's how you win.
So, okay, this next comment, by Stephen G. Stephen G put it up, and also Sam put it up too about Dabo. All right, I'm going to get into Dabo for a minute. All right.
Hey, if y'all ain't, hey, look that. Hey, can I say it? Can I just
Go
say it
ahead,
real
Chris.
quick?
You go ahead and get into it, Chris.
I just say it. I'm not gonna let no smart ass kid come on here and talk to me.
Man of God.
I
Oh man.
said,
NIL in the
wait a
name,
minute.
image, likeness of Jesus Christ.
I
I'm not letting no
said,
smart ass kid come up here.
yeah. I mean, my takeaway from it was like, hey man, first off, whoever the kid was that was on there, he gave him about 5 minutes of backhanded comments. I mean, it's worse than me coming on to one of y'all shows, Steven. Nick, it's worse than me coming on there. I mean, I was like, Jesus. I've never seen Dabo do that. My uncle sent me the clip and was like, "Hey man, this is amazing. You have to listen to this." I actually tried to fact check it to make sure that was Dabo. I was like, Dabo wouldn't say that.
I thought it was AI at first. I was like, man, who AI'd Dabo, man? Come on.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. It was wild. It was wild.
Dabo's frustrated, fellas. He's frustrated because Dabo thought that he could get through and not have to get down into the crates like everybody else is doing in this day and age of transfer portal and NIL. And he thought he was going to be able to build a team like he's always done and be successful. And life's hard for him. He's 4-4 this year, right? You know, this is the first time he's lost 4 games since his first or second year. You know, and I understand Dabo did make some good points. He goes, look, man, I won 2 championships in the last 7 years. No. What did he say? 2 championships in 7 years, right? So, okay, Dabo, we get it. But the game's evolving. Recruiting's evolving. There are things that Clemson's going to have to do to ensure that they stay afloat and to stay competitive. And Dabo does not want to do it. I think he's going to change his mind after this year because they ain't done losing. They might go 6-6 this year. They're not done losing, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how Dabo adjusts, even after this tirade he had yesterday. Which I'm going to try to pull this clip up because I want the fans to hear this, man. Because this is the guy that like preaches every day. Yeah.
Do you know what kills me about what Dabo said? Because there is a truth to it, but this is just, and I'm sorry guys, because these are the things that just absolutely fire me up, not only in football, but just in like general day-to-day discourse, right? Where someone makes a claim and they hide behind a truth, but they're hoping that you don't take into account any of the nuance or why the question exists and why someone is questioning that truth. Here's what I mean when I say this. Let's pretend that we're not talking about football. Dabo built a really nice race car. Beautiful. He took it from a garage that had not seen success, built them an American muscle sports car that won and was winning with the best of them. But then when the rules started to change, instead of keeping up, Dabo drove that damn car off a bridge and then looked at the media when the media was like, well, why isn't your car working anymore, Dabo? He has the gall to be offended and is like, oh, well, I built y'all a beautiful car 2 years ago. But why is it not beautiful anymore, Dabo? Right? Like, I understand you're not wrong. You have had this success. You are one of the best coaches in the nation, but it is no question that your inability to change is hindering your team.
Exactly.
And it's just that frustrates me so much where people will hide behind this truth, hoping you don't question the nuance within the conversation.
Yeah. Steve, how about you, man? About the whole Dabo situation?
You look at the hires that were made, because I'll get to the portal stuff in a second, but even the staff, I mean, part of being what makes the Nick Sabans of the world the Nick Sabans, and even back when Urban Meyer was successful, was the turnover of staff would always hit you if you're good. If you're one of the greats, this is something, Nick, we could have this conversation about Mac Brown in 2000 when guys started getting plucked off the staff and Will Muschamp takes a job and this coach takes a job. Do you keep up, right? Do you still have that same quality staff there? I don't even, and I'd like to say yes. With, when you get a guy like Garrett Riley to come in there offensively, I'm thinking, okay, you guys went and took Garrett Riley from TCU. We should be able to, that thing should be able to hum with Cade Klubnik and some of those pieces. But then it even starts to stand out more they just don't have the same juice and talent they had. Even going back to Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins. I don't see no Sammy Watkins out there, brother.
Hell no.
I don't see a D-Hop out there, brother.
That's one of the best teams to not win a natty.
Who you telling? Oh my God, D. I mean, they had a squad. You know what's crazy about this though, Steven, is even teams like the great Alabama have realized that they had some shortcomings on their team. What does Alabama go do? They go get a linebacker from Tennessee last year who's now in the league. They go fortify their wide receiver core. And they pretty much, 2 out of their starting 3 wide receivers are transfers. And so you got to keep up. You got to get players in, man. You know, they got a backup quarterback who's a transfer from Notre Dame. I mean, you know, even last year on the line, they're starting left tackle. Yeah, I mean, I get it. But you know, it's still, I would say, quality.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, everybody's
it's the business Dabo. Changed. Except, and so Dabo, guess what? You're now officially Kodak. You're Blockbuster, sir. Oh, it happens overnight. Blink of an eye. Right? I mean, because that's the nature of the business. And then when you look at you know, the ability to, I mean, look at Georgia. Dominic Lovett was out here cooking last week from Missouri. Right? Like, even the teams that just won, they're like, hey, we need another slot guy. We just need a guy to hold us over from this for this year to when our next recruit comes in. But we're not going to have drop off where we can supplement a position and get something from the portal real quick to hold us over. That's all that mentality has to be. I don't think Kirby Smart's out here building his entire program from the transfer portal. Neither is Bama or any of the other programs. But when there's elite talent in there, we're going to go after it. We're going to be, hey, this is your new home, and you're going to help us bridge that gap and get guys in here so that we have a standard. And our standard was T. Higgins and Justin Ross and Trevor Lawrence and those guys. And the standard has dropped. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And Mike Williams.
Yes.
You don't got none of those guys there.
Nope.
They don't have. And now, now that you're losing your credibility, you know what? Several years ago, Dabo, Keon Coleman should have been yours. But Florida State said, no, you come over here now. Keon Coleman would have gone to Clemson a few years ago if they were playing the game the right way. Yeah. But now you've been passed over.
But here's the thing, okay? So let's leave the portal and the players alone. Well, it all intertwines with what I'm about to say, but I'll say this right here, okay? No, I'm not about to get on here and BV this, BV that, but I'm going to say this right here. The fact of the matter is you saw some of the stubbornness. First off, you lose some of your better recruiters in a Venables and a Todd Bates, guys like that on the defensive side of the ball who also recruited offensive players. They recruited everybody. You know, they had that whole type of a spill up there. But also the stubbornness didn't start with the portal or NIL. The stubbornness started with the fact that you lose one offensive coordinator and then you come in-house with the same with offensive coordinator running the same damn thing. Then you go and do the same damn thing over and over again, and you have this shuffle of offensive coordinators running the same stagnant offense. And the fact of the matter is that it worked with Trevor Lawrence, T. Higgins, guys like that, Justin Ross, Trevor Etienne, and all those guys. But whenever you're sitting there and you're losing those type of players and that generational quarterback or the transcendent quarterback, Nick, that's hard to come back from. But the fact of the matter is that when you're losing staff guys left and right, and you know, hey, look, it was the perfect homecoming for BV. Tony Elliott saw the job. He wanted to be a head coach. I mean, it's what you're doing. I mean, it's a credit to him. It's a gift and a curse. It's what college football is for these college coaches. If you're doing your job, you're going to lose good coaches simply because you're winning.
Hasn't Kirby Smart just gone through this as well? Yeah, losing Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
Losing Todd Monken to the Baltimore Ravens. Right?
But that edge or whatnot, that, I mean, don't get me wrong. No. I think that the defense for Clemson is still damn good. I think that they're still getting players. I mean, everybody right now on this panel. If Peter Woods jumped in the portal and he said Texas, OU, and Bama, we all would be going crazy right now. Like, hey, hey,
Yeah.
this is
You
the
should
type
just
of
come on home.
yeah.
No, sir.
So, but I mean, the thing is that and again, it's still the same philosophy because this guy was right under VV. So it kind of begs you to ask the question of like, what's really going on? Like Dabo, I get it that you want to build from within, but you went and got Riley. You're gonna have to do something. I don't know what it is to shake it up, but you're gonna have to do something. And now I think that's where we can cross the bridge to what you guys have been talking about all along, not just tonight, but the NIL, the transfer portal, all those different things. That stuff is now very apparent on this team because this team is very anemic. But I
He has a
think
talent gap.
yeah, I think that it's important to address the fact that it's been a lot of stubbornness on the staff side of the football as well.
Hey, you know what? I want to address this comment, from Steven. He says, do y'all think Dabo leaves Clemson since he's getting a lot of hate? There's $11.5 million a year why he's not going to leave Clemson. He going to get that money, dog. He ain't leaving. He is not leaving. I'm going to tell you what Dabo kind of reminds me of, fellas. He reminds me of Mac Brown at the end of his career at Texas. Very complacent, very content. He's pulling in talent. He's always having a top 10 class, right? But it's not built the right way, and so he's pulling in talent. Mac pulled in talent. He pulled in the Malcolm Browns there to come to Texas before Charlie got there, and he pulled in 5-stars, Jonathan Gray, and the other Malcolm Brown who played running back, and the other one that played defensive tackle. He pulled in 5-star guys, but he lost the fire. Chris said it best. Where's the edge coming from? Where's the edge? And it seems like Dabo has kind of lost that edge right now. And you can see it this season. He's wearing it on his face, And so he doesn't have the juice no more, man. And he's really starting to remind me of circa 2011 Mac Brown. Now leave it at that.
I was wrong. I have to admit, I was wrong about Clemson this season from the standpoint of I thought Dabo made a really good hire. Garrett Riley won the Broyles Award last year.
Me as well.
And I don't recognize that offense at Clemson. I don't recognize it. And I'm starting to think more about it, and I'm like, okay, well, Georgia also had to overhaul. They went to Bobo, back to Bobo, I should say, calling the offense. And you see tweaks where they're still monkeying in Georgia's offense, but you also see what Bobo has implemented directly for Carson Beck, right? Like you see there's certain things that they've also navigated. And again, they added players. They didn't just add the coach, they added players with the coach. So I am wondering if Garrett Riley took this job thinking he would have some type of input of, can I go get a Dominic Lovett that's in the portal? Can I go get some of these people? Like, y'all think y'all straight with just this group? Like, I'm really wondering what the conversation was. Keon Coleman's out here. What's the any of these guys? And so just not being able to pursue them and ending up this way is interesting.
They have, and don't get me wrong, they have some kids on that team that's like, hey, they got a couple of dogs on their team. They ain't got the pack though. That's the problem.
So Clemson doesn't have the depth like they used to have. Clemson used to be able to roll people out night and day, and the depth in that team was crazy, just like Alabama's. And they recruited. Mm-hmm. They didn't recruit in sheer numbers. Like a lot of schools would have like 27, 30 recruits. Clemson recruited a select few. They would have their 20, but their top 20 were no kid. They were studs. They were hits. All of them were hits. So they're missing that. But look here, folks. I want to talk about this right here. Dustin Jones. He goes, are we taking the over-under on Jimbo getting fired this season? So I'm not going to talk about this, but I do want to talk about Texas A&M versus South Carolina. Okay, and Texas A&M coming out, winning that game 30-17 against South Carolina. A game that, I kind of expected them to win this game. Texas is, their defensive line from A&M just thoroughly abused South Carolina's anemic offensive line, which has been getting beat up pretty much all season. I feel sorry for Spencer Rattler. I can't believe I'm saying it as a Texas fan that I feel sorry for Spencer Rattler, but I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league this year. But man, Texas A&M came out and did their thing. Max Johnson looked very good, about 250 yards of passing. The running game still not, full throttle, but they did get Ruben Owens the ball after his dad put out that tweet that they got like a 5-star running back. Hey man, Senior put out that tweet saying you guys got a 5-star running back who has hands.
Threats were made.
Hey man, he got 18 touches this game though. No, I'm sorry, he got 19 touches this game. But look, man, A&M, if they can just get their stuff on track, they'll be fine. But to kind of go back on Dustin's question here, A&M's now 5-3.
You got them beating Ole Miss?
No. No. But what I'm getting at is Jimbo's going to win 8 games this year. He's going to go 8-4, right? And he's going to go 8-4 this year. Because I got a feeling, I'm lying. He's going to go 7-5. They're going to get beat by Ole Miss, and they still get LSU,
7-5.
right?
They're going to 7-5.
Yeah. So 7-5. 7-5. They ain't going to fire him, man. They can't afford to fire him. They can't.
So
ahead, Ty.
Here's the thing. Here's where I disagree with you on this, Nuno. You said that they have just a few things they need to figure out, and they'll be fine. My brother in Christ, we have been saying that for what feels like 3 decades
6 years
now. Like, this is you're not wrong, but it's just like we've had this. So Dustin, I do agree completely with Nino everywhere else. Listen, styles make fights, and when I talk specifically about that South Carolina A&M fight, it's just like Steven and I both love boxing. You have 2 boxers that go out there. One of them is only really effective at looping punches. The other, he'll knock your ass out with a jab. I can guarantee you the dude who can jab his ass off is going to win that night because straight punches beat looping punches. They get to target faster. It's the same premise with this A&M South Carolina game. South Carolina and Spencer Rattler. Spencer, gentlemen, has blown up draft boards. Like, seriously, I don't know that I've seen a quarterback in losing efforts help his stock any more in a 1-year sample size than I have with Spencer Rattler this year. Like, just off of a 1-year size of work and losing efforts, he is boosting his stock because it's obvious this is the Spencer that everybody was waiting for. But the reason they're not going to fire him is multiple. First and foremost, they're probably not going to want to pay him, but more importantly, we have to also remember they inherently set the market on what a coach will take. If I'm going to take that job, what are you paying Jimbo? Well, you got to add 4 or 5 M's on top of that because you're not paying me for the same results. You're paying me for better results. So if you want the same results, you better hand me the same money you gave Jimbo. Because that was the standard of acceptability here. You want more? Well, you got to pay me more.
That's why you go and get a Jeff Traylor.
Yeah, that's why you get a G5 coach. You got to get a G5 coach. Yeah. Because you can't get a sexy hire coach. You can't get
Go get Rhett Lashley. Yeah, you have to go get guys like that. And not to say they're not good coaches, but you have to go get coaches like that to be able to at least one say, "Hey, I hit a home run because I did my homework," or two, be able to say, "Hey, my bad. That was just a segue to kind of get us a little bit further along in this Jimbo buyout." You know,
they got to go G5.
That's a question I have though for A&M internally. Will their egos allow them? We've all said, I think all of us have said, "Wow, a Jeff Traylor there would be really, really dangerous." At one point, oh boy, at Texas Tech, McGuire was in that conversation, but he's not surviving the allegations right now, so we'll leave McGuire out of it. But Jeff Traylor, names like that. Chris mentioned Rhett Lashley. Shoot, one guy who's killing it. At some point, one of these smart schools, non-sexy, is going to go get Willie Fritz from Tulane.
True.
At some point.
Yeah.
Hey,
that would be scary.
That's a great.
That's a good football coach.
We're
gonna have a good football program.
I don't want A&M doing.
I don't want to be.
No, I think that they're thinking sexy. I think they're thinking big name.
And that my uncle and I had this argument a couple Saturdays ago because he said, "Hey man," he was like, "They just need somebody who can come and fix the culture." I said, "Man, A&M's gonna go for that big splash. If it ain't Urban, if it ain't a big name, a big time coach, they're not going to go for that. And he said no. He said, man, you can go and get the Tulane coach. Go and get. He even said, gosh, it was somebody else that he said that made a lot of sense. It'll come back to me, but it's a bunch of coaches that make a lot of sense down there, to be honest with you.
And you know what though, honestly.
He said the coach from Utah. He said, if you're Texas A&M, why wouldn't you throw a lot of money
too? You got to come off some bread.
For Whittingham.
Hey man, this is a Power 5 coach that has won Rose Bowls.
Gentlemen, if he gets the resources of A&M,
Lord
Kyle
have mercy.
Whittingham, oh my God, that would actually be a scary hire. Like
this is a great hire, right there, Lance Leipold.
I really like Stevens, Willie Fritz. Well, I don't. That's the problem. I don't like it, but at the same time, I
don't like it either.
I'll tell you somebody else who would be another,
especially somebody that's already at Tulane with the recruiting ties down there. Yeah. That's doing what he's doing in that region.
Yeah,
and that understands those people. He understands East Texas. He understands that entire area. You know that better than I do.
Baton Rouge in Louisiana. Baton Rouge and like NOLA are only 3 hours away from Houston. Man, I mean, it's right. I mean, he can recruit his ass off, man. Oh my, I don't want it.
That's scary, actually.
I don't want it.
Y'all are gonna kill me for this one, but I'm gonna throw in an oddball name too. I think Matt Campbell would be really good down there as well.
Yeah. No. You know what though?
I think Matt Campbell would be fine.
No, but you know what? Matt Campbell does the best things when his teams aren't supposed to do well, but when he has the talent, his teams don't do well. It is the weirdest freaking thing.
Nick,
it is weird.
Nick. Hey, Nick. Now, as much crap as I've given you about Quinn Ewers, Mullet Boy, all those names, Quinn Ewers ain't Brock Purdy. I'm just going to say that. I'm not talking about 49ers Brock Purdy. I'm talking about Iowa State Brock Purdy. And I mean that. Y'all know how I feel about Iowa State Brock Purdy. It's hot garbage on a Saturday. Okay? It's hot garbage.
But that was the same Brock Purdy. Hold on, Nino. I think Nino's right here with Matt Campbell. That was the same Brock Purdy that they went and won. They didn't win, but they went to the Fiesta Bowl that year and what they did coming out of the Big 12. He had 96% returning production, Matt Campbell. Brock Purdy was back. Breece Hall was back. Xavier Hutchinson was back.
Oh, he had a squad.
The tight end Kohler was. They had a squad coming back, and them dudes went 7-6, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, like the one year where it was like, hey, the expectations are high. You have a Fiesta Bowl team coming back. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
He dropped the ball. That's all. That's all I'm saying. The one year where where he was expected to make noise. He didn't do it.
A quarterback who was playing in the NFC Championship game last year, Breece Hall, who was the Rookie of the Year last year, wasn't he? Wasn't he like the Rookie of the Year? I thought.
It was Garrett Wilson, but it would have been Breece before Breece went down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. So Breece got hurt, but you got Breece who's over here beasting right now on Sundays, right? Hutchinson's a beast. You know, the tight end. Look, man, he does more with less. And when he has more, he does less with more. It is the weirdest thing ever. It is the weirdest thing ever with a guy like Matt Campbell. But I would be scared if he had the resources of Texas A&M because he would have to. I think
there's some coaches who are just those type of coaches that are always going to be more with less type of guys. They're not I think it's a different job to coach under expectations. I think it's a different job to get your kids motivated when everybody says your kids are the shit. I think that's a totally different job than trying to ramp up kids. It's a totally different. That's why Nick Saban is Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That's why some of the guys at the top. Yeah. Like you have to, how hard it is for Kirby to try to come up with something new every week to motivate Georgia kids.
Hey, he don't have to no more. When they came out number 2 on the playoffs, that's nothing but motivation now.
Oh, I know.
That's nothing but motivation now.
I mean, Kirby. My thing is like I told I was like, hey, you have to bring in the tricky part of it for Texas A&M is that they have to bring in somebody who's not only a culture guy, fixes this, but somebody who walks in there and says, "Hey, Evan Stewart, you're not going anywhere. Hey, such and such on the
Shit,
defensive
the way
line,
they're
you're not
playing right
going
now,
anywhere."
Moose Muhammad, come on down. You are an Alabama
Hey,
Crimson Tide.
no, hey,
Come
Moose,
on.
Texas,
Yeah,
Muhammad, we
Moose
would
is
love to
definitely gonna
have
be in
you.
the
We
portal.
would love to have you.
hey, Moose, come
Boomer.
down the street down there to
Hey,
Austin, Texas, baby.
you
We
know where
losing.
you know who your dad played for.
I
No,
don't give a
I'm
damn.
just saying that's the first
You know who your
recruiting
dad
battle.
played
You
for.
have to hire somebody who comes in there and from day one and makes it hard for these kids to leave.
Can
It's
I
gonna be
say something real fast?
yeah, man. Go
Because
ahead.
I genuinely, Billy Bob Jones,
I know.
he says Jimbo is a great coach, just needs to get settled. Mac Brown took 8 years to win a conference. Bobby, if you're still in here, I genuinely have a question, and I'm not trying to be dismissive, backhanded. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I have a genuine. Shut up! I have a genuine question. What has he shown you since he's gotten to A&M that would possibly make you think that he is getting paid Nick Saban and Kirby Smart money, and he's not even giving you anywhere close to those results? He hasn't played for a conference title. He's had top 10 recruiting class after top 10 recruiting class, but how many times has A&M been a top 10 team? They haven't been.
Well,
Like,
hey,
it's been a middle of the pack SEC team except for the COVID year. So I'm not even trying to be backhanded, Bobby, but basically here's my question. You're getting worse results than you got with Kevin Sumlin, with a guy who's recruiting better, has access to better talent, and is getting paid more. So what is it? Because I have to know. I have to know.
Billy,
hey,
Billy,
I'm trying to see. Hey, Billy Bob Jones. This guy is a troll.
he
This
has
is
to be a
somebody we
troll.
know. This has to be.
Billy Bob been at them strip clubs taking them quarter shots like he did on Varsity Blues again. Ain't
Hey,
he?
Chris, I guarantee you, this probably Seth's burner, man. This probably Seth's burner.
Why y'all
That would
always
be
think
funny.
we accept
It's
our
gotta
burners? No,
be.
we don't have burner
But that's
accounts.
why I'm not even like, I'm just curious, right? Like I want to hear from an A&M fan's perspective. I haven't gotten to hear from an A&M fan's perspective why.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that's either got to be Seth's burner account or that got to be Nash's burner account. It's one of them, man.
Hey, Nick. I think before we get up out of here, we got to talk about the game of the week in the SEC. Honestly.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, Ty, give it the floor to Ty. It's his game. It's his
Yeah,
team.
man. Ty, go ahead, buddy.
Bama LSU, yeah.
Yep.
So look, this is going to be awesome. We were doing the Bama Standard last night. We had some LSU fans coming in there and trolling us, and it was so funny because one of them was like, "You really think Bama's going to win this game? LSU hasn't lost a game at home all year." And I just had to tell him, well, it's a damn good thing the game's at Bryant-Denny then. And that was the highlight of my night. They didn't even know where the game was. But here's the thing, guys. I genuinely think LSU might have the best offense in the nation. Like I think they might have the best offense in the nation. At the very worst, they're a top 5 offense, right? Like if we're really trying, they're a top 5.
They're sick,
offense.
man.
Jaden Daniels is playing really good. I was asking for a running game, and in fairness, one has emerged. It's not your traditional LSU running game, but it's what they need, right? Like, I don't know that you need a Leonard Fournette, I'm going to break through the middle of your line. I think they just need something to complement Jaden Daniels, and they have that. Diggs is getting active in the passing game. He's helping take the load off of Daniels. The wide receivers are phenomenal. Here's the problem. The defense is atrocious. Like, it's so bad, it's actually you can actually compare it almost 1-to-1 with USC. That's how bad it is. And here's the thing, gentlemen.
Oh, you're right though.
That was when they had players. Gentlemen, their starting safety is now going to be a cornerback this weekend, Sage Ryan, because they have so many injuries at corner.
Oh man.
And that was already a secondary that on a good day is shaky. It's not DBU. It's a one-off. I don't expect this to be like a multi-year problem at LSU. Like I just can't imagine their secondary being bad for multiple years. But it is bad right now. So Alabama has their work cut out for them. There's no doubt about that. Here's the things that I like. Whenever I look at that LSU team that was so good a few years ago with Joe Burrow, you want to know the team that gave them the most problems? It was Auburn. And Kevin Steele was the defensive coordinator. Kevin Steele against LSU, he's actually been able to slow down those offenses. Not saying they've had winning success, but he as a defensive coordinator was able to at least slow down as much as anybody could have hoped to slow down what I consider to be the best offense that's ever taken the college football field, that 2019 LSU offense. The thing I like is you have a more experienced play caller. I don't think they're going to let Jaden Daniels run all over them without a spy. And two, the defense sees Jalen Milroe every day, right? Like they see a quarterback that has the ability to get out there and get active with his legs. So they're much more used to stopping that in practice. And guys, Alabama's defense is sensational. I think they've finally settled on their two inside linebackers, Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell. I've talked about this a lot. Jahad Campbell was a 5-star edge when he got to Bama. Then they transitioned him from edge to inside linebacker. They may be doing the same thing with Jeremiah Alexander. But the range that Lawson and Campbell give you is going to be big. If you're asking me my player of the game, watch 84 on offense. The LSU secondary has been susceptible to the big play all year. Luckily, Alabama's one of the best in college football at the big pass, but they've been extra susceptible to the tight end. I still think Alabama may have one of the better tight ends in the nation, but they just, like, Alabama's offense has been so inconsistent, you can't say that with any quantifiable data. But, I mean, anybody that's watched Amari Niblack, I think you will, at the very least, concede he is uber talented and is a mismatch, and I think he could be a big mismatch in this game.
Hey, man, look, I just had to do one thing right quick, Chris. Hold on, Chris. Power 5 teams, LSU, their defense, how many points do you guys think they're averaging that they're giving up against Power 5 teams?
32.
35.
34 points, man.
That's god-awful.
34 freaking points against Power 5 teams. Lord have mercy. Where has LSU gone?
Hey, if I could jump in here, I'm just going to give this as my 2 cents. I think it boils down to 4 things. I think first off, it's 3 things on defense, which would be contain. Got to contain him. When he runs up the middle, Ty, this is my biggest problem with even having a spy, is simply this right here. He's taking some hits this year. Jaden Daniels is taking some hits this year. I'm not going to say he's going to get hurt or anything like that. I hope he doesn't get hurt. But whenever he runs up the middle or he tries to run through the trash, that's whenever he kind of finds himself in trouble. It's usually when he hits the edge, in my opinion, for at least from the games that I've watched. For me, it's all about the contain. Other 2 things are this right here. Stop Neighbors. Make sure you know where Neighbors is at all times on the field. It's easier said than done, but try to stop him. Try to keep a man on him. Third thing for me,
he's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a problem.
Third thing is that when you go zone or even whatever defense you're running, cover that middle. That they love attacking that middle. I've seen them attack the middle time and time again in every game. For some odd reason, a lot of teams like running a lot of zone against them, probably because they have to. And then the 4th thing is simply this right here. Milroe, we need you to make the right reads, but also make quick reads. This is not a game where with this defensive line, you can play around. You're going to have to get the ball out of your hand. They have a capable D line.
Wingo is out. Season-ending injury.
Really?
Yes. When I say this, if I'm not mistaken, they have injuries on their offensive line too. Like, I actually feel bad for LSU going into this game.
Yeah.
The injury bug has just decimated them.
Well, for me, I still need him to make the right reads and quick reads because sometimes Milroe likes to hold on to the ball a little bit too long. To me, I think the problem with Milroe at times is he takes a lot of coverage sacks. Granted, there's guys that are running there's guys that's running drag routes right there in front of his face, but he's still looking down the field, which is nothing wrong. But you're like, hey, when you're decisive with that football, you know if you're going to run or if you know what you're going to do in the pass, you look incredible out there. But there's times whenever you're holding on to the ball and you're indecisive and then you make the wrong read because you're throwing to your second or third progression simply because off of impulse. So for me, I think for him, that's the most important thing. But those would be my 4 things for victory for Bama. Just to be quite frank with you.
It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game, man. Look, man, I'm looking at just some of the stats, man. You know, I'm a stats guy. I'm just looking at running quarterbacks or dual threat quarterbacks against this Tiger defense, right? Jordan Travis, 7 rushes, 38 yards. And these yards, folks, are yards that are included with sacks, right? So he probably had, honestly, probably 50, 55 yards in this game. KJ Jefferson had 50 yards in the game. Jackson Dart had 50 yards in the game. Milroe's a different beast when it comes to running compared to all three of those guys. Milroe's going to run over that defense. This dude is like a linebacker playing quarterback. He is going to run over some folks. I'm looking at Milroe to go for 75 yards in this game. Like easy 75 yards and a couple touchdowns on the ground alone.
I'm gonna have my buddy Billy from LSU come back on my channel. He is he's very fired up for this game, representing LSU, of course, and he's been bragging about. Well, that's Brandon. Brandon's the A&M guy.
I'm sorry.
But yeah. Brandon's the A&M guy. Billy is LSU. So Billy has been telling me about one of their new Caucasian linebackers, Whit Weeks, who has taken over in recent games and has been performing pretty well. And he's very, very high on Whit Weeks and what he brings to the table with Harold Perkins. I'm looking at Ty's face right now. But, you know, Billy's told me, hey, watch out for Whit Weeks out there. That guy's going to go out there and make some noise in this game. Our defense has turned around. Hey, Steve, we got a shutout against Army in our last game, 62-0, so, hey, look out, right? And then obviously the offense speaks for itself.
They did that to our nation's armed forces. That's un-American. That's unpatriotic.
The Fighting West Pointers, huh? You guys want some credit for feeding them on West Point? Child, please. That's a child, please.
I think it's. In all seriousness, though, my key to the game is turnovers. Yeah. Because I could see Alabama going up and down the field, but to your point about decision making, Chris, Jalen Milroe taking care of the football. Like, this is just a thing that you have to say over and over again with young players. And he's done a good job of, cutting those things down, as well as every game Jalen Milroe's hitting the big plays when they're available to him. Even when Bama was losing against Tennessee and everybody is shook, and he comes out and he hits on the big plays. So that's a great trait. But turnovers, and that goes for LSU as well. LSU early in the year was really sloppy with the football at times and could be had. And they throw a lot of 50-50 balls up, rightfully so, when you have a Neighbors and a Brian Thompson Jr. who's emerged. Brian Thompson Jr. was always the guy that looks like A.J. Brown, but it's like, why doesn't that guy play? And like they finally figured it out with him. That guy's huge.
He's awesome.
Like I know the NFL is looking at him. So yeah, now that they've unleashed him and they got Neighbors going, Jayden Daniels is going to take as any quarterback should when you have those type of weapons. So if you're Alabama, you have opportunities there for turnovers on your side. I think the turnover battle is actually going to be a very interesting key to this game.
One last point that may be a deciding factor as well is who is able to establish a run game.
True.
Yeah.
And not outside of the quarterback run. I mean, like, who's able to actually establish a run game? Is it Bama with McClellan or is it, the three-headed,
the Diggs kid?
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy though is Diggs has been kicking ass the last few weeks, right? I don't think Bama still hasn't gotten their footing right yet, have they, Ty? Like when it comes to running the ball?
It's still
like committee, right?
Like, yeah, and here's the thing, man. I will say, if they come out, if Tommy Rees brings the creativity that he started the second quarter through the end of the Tennessee game, I'm going to feel really good.
Yeah.
Right? Like some of those jet sweeps. I'm sorry, Chris. I know you don't want to hear that word. A lot of the motion, things like that. It really helped open up the game for Alabama. And if they do that, I like their chance. Here's one thing, guys. I think Alabama is in a unique position on their defense because I think Alabama has a tandem of top 10 guys, right? When I say that, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terry, and Arnold, I think are both top 10 corners in the nation. Mm-hmm. They're going to be manned up because Bama plays almost don't get me wrong, they go into zone, but they play a healthy amount of man, which is going to be a treat for all of us that we're going to see day one NFL draft picks in straight man to man. That is going to be such a treat. Don't forget, Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner are also posting win rates right now of like 23% each on pass rush sets. They're two of the top 5 in all of college football. And then you have Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan on the interior. And Tim Keenan has emerged, ladies and gentlemen.
Keenan's the one I'm afraid of.
Well, hey, and here's what I'd say. Otis, they flexed him out to edge so that way they could get Otis and Keenan on the field at the same time. Otis is the one that came to Alabama at like 408 pounds and has lost over 100 pounds since he got there. He's going to be this is going to be an amazing game, guys. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Oh. And I know we probably about to get out of here, but I'll say at the other game real quick if y'all want to give y'all thoughts on that one.
Yeah, we definitely got to touch on Georgia, Missouri.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah, hey, because that's
big.
Hey, man. Hey.
Out of top 10 Thunder. If they lose to Missouri, they drop out of the top 10.
Do they drop out? I mean, because Missouri's number 12.
But it depends. It depends
how they lose. How they lose
and how other teams go, right? Okay, they probably don't drop out of the top 10. They probably end up at like 10,
7.
if I'm being honest.
I'm going to say 7 or 8.
Because Bama would move forward. If Alabama beats LSU, that's going to be another ranked win for Alabama. They would move forward.
Michigan will move up. Texas will move up. OU will move up. Bama will move up. I mean, this is considering that
Missouri would jump. I mean, think about where do you put Missouri?
You got because
they beat the number one team that five or
you got to
mark. Yeah,
you got to do
somewhere between 4 and
you'd have to bump up Missouri heavily.
And it's at Georgia. It's at awesome. Georgia. So if they beat Georgia at Georgia, it's the best win of the year.
Where's Surfer Boy? Yeah. Where's Surfer Boy?
Hey, but honestly, it could happen. It could happen. Georgia been playing around.
I don't see it happening, brother.
I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna. It can happen. I mean, they took them to the wire last year. I think they had a more talented team last year. I do. I think Georgia had a more talented team last year. Mm-hmm. And they took them to the wire last year. Mind you, it was in Missouri. I get it. But man, Missouri got some dogs at their wide receiver position, man. And they don't got Brock Bowers.
For me, if you go to Kim's comment is Georgia will expose Mizzou. Here's my thing about Georgia. Okay, this is all I got to say. Georgia, they have to come into this game already ready as soon as they get off the bus. This can't be a game where they go down 7-0 like they did against Florida and then they just settle into the game. This is not that type of game. Missouri's going to be ready to play you from the jump. They're going to be amped and ready to play. Best thing for Georgia is the fact that they're playing at home and not at Missouri because that place would be jumping. But this is not one of those games where I feel like they could just try to settle in and just get to the fourth quarter. This is a game where
they got to go.
If you're going to end it, you go get it from the jump.
You got to go full throttle. Because look, Florida ain't shit. Let's keep it real, man. They ain't nothing. Hey, who is Florida beat this year? Think about it.
Oh man, y'all now we're doing the Paul Feinbaum on the Matthew Berry show, where he was going in on Florida.
They ain't no.
Oh my God, it's the same.
They beat South Carolina by 2 points. They let South Carolina put 39 on them. Come on, man. Who was Florida, right? They lost to Kentucky.
So one of the things. When I was on High Tops game day, which I don't know if y'all saw that clip I sent y'all from whenever he was live at the game and he had one of the people come on and they threw up live on air. That's one of the funniest clips I've seen all year. It's in our group chat on Twitter.
That's beautiful.
I highly
please send that
recommend-
immediately.
Okay, I'll resend it because
Yeah,
I want to see
I see
y'all's
that one.
reactions live. It was awesome, man. So if y'all don't catch up with his content, please do, man. He's a Florida guy. We were on the show on Saturday, and one of the Pouncey brothers came up and hopped on the air with us. I mean, it's a treat getting to talk with him. But when I was talking to them, they were saying, "Well, how could Georgia beat Florida?" And they were saying, "Well, Georgia." The defense, it's coming off of the defense last year, and Florida's got a really methodical passing game, and that could be a way to beat Georgia. And I was like, you're right. Florida does have a very methodical passing game. Mertz has been great. That's not the way you beat Georgia. Methodical passing games, that's exactly what Kirby wants you to do. Kirby wants you to try and dink and dunk on. You got to test him deep. Like, that's the thing with Kirby and Nick Saban. They're going to put their corners on an island and just say, bet you won't throw it deep because we're going to believe in our guys over yours. And if you get us once, that's fine. Are you going to be able to do it all game?
Yeah.
Missouri can't. Missouri can test them deep, but Steven, I got to agree with you, man. Georgia, guys, they answered a lot of questions for me last week. How are you going to be without Brock Bowers? It wasn't as much about Florida, because we've sometimes seen Georgia get in Georgia's own way this year, where they're not playing 4 quarters of just good football. They're coasting.
Yeah.
And that's scary because they're even good when they coast. They're really good when they coast. They beat the shit out of Florida without Brock Bowers.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
They did.
I would say they were up 30
I
points.
thought that was a
fourth quarter.
very impressive win. Like, I'm not, and I agree with y'all. I don't think Florida is some great team. But it's the way they just said, oh, y'all think that we're going to falter without our best player because he won us the game at Auburn. Watch this. And poor Florida, they were the abuse victim. They beat the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to send y'all this video. This video is so good.
It's funny too, because, I mentioned Paul Feinbaum because on that podcast he was on, he said, Florida even getting 20 was fraudulent because Kirby Smart had his grandchildren in the game at that point when they on that last drive when Graham Mertz scored.
Kirby had his grandbabies in the game.
I just sent it to y'all. Y'all gotta watch this.
That's it, man. Had his unborn grandchildren playing right now.
He said he had the little ones in the game with. And Florida's first team, and Pearsall and Mertz is still out there moving the rock down the field, like literally going for it on 4th and 3, all this stuff just to get in the end zone to make the score look somewhat respectable, even though they still got skunked. Georgia's a machine, all right? Like, I just feel as though I like what I'm seeing from Carson Beck. The things I saw earlier in the year that they had to get that marriage together with Bobo, they're finally there. The run game has come. Some of the run game, they just needed some of the running backs to get healthy. Edwards is healthier. Kendall Milton's healthy. So they got some runners now. They unleashed some other big ass white tight end named Oscar Delp last week. Who the hell is that guy?
Number 1 tight end in his class. That's the thing. They have so many tight ends.
Yeah, that guy's good. Yeah. Did you hear that guy? They threw it to number 4. I was like, yo, this guy looks just like Brock Bowers.
He was like, who this?
Now imagine they run 12 personnel if he gets back.
You know what's
sad?
Oh
my God.
You know what's sad? Maybe with Brock being hurt, Kirby might find another wrinkle on how to just get more
could
talent
force
on the
them
field.
to play actual football instead of just give it to the best person in college football, Brock Bowers.
Oh man. Yeah, I think Georgia's going to win the game, but it's still going to be a good game though. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
Yo, my man Ladd McConkey was giving the Florida DBs fits, man. Ladd was out there balling.
What's a good comp for him, man? Like, what's a good comp for Ladd, man? I'm trying to figure out what kind of player he is.
Ladd,
poor man's Cooper Kupp. Let's be real. It's a poor man's.
But he's a little bigger than Cooper, isn't he? Isn't he a bigger guy?
I think Cooper Kupp's 6'3".
Cooper's that tall?
I think Cooper Kupp is actually pretty
Cooper's
big.
like 6'2". He's thick. He's
man, Cooper.
Yeah, he's
Cooper
like 6'2", almost 220.
Cooper looks short to me for some reason.
Hey, Lad McConkey could go over there and he could be a solid 2 or 3 to CD, man. He'd be better than whatever
He's
else.
fast as
line.
hell. I will give him that.
Yeah.
Kid can
Nah,
move.
Lad's gonna be
Nice.
a bona fide New England Patriot, man. He's gonna be one of the best.
Man, stop it, dude.
His name alone. I mean, come on, that guy does belong.
His name. That's why you say he's a New England Patriot. His name.
Hey,
Patriot name.
amongst other things in the profile.
What's your name? Lad McConkey, starting wide receiver, New England Patriots, number 12.
He is nice though. I gotta give it to him.
Lad was in Florida, bro.
Hey,
He's nice. He's actually really nice, bro. Like he's really talented.
He was cooking.
He was cooking. Dude, he had 15 catches
His route running is
for
crazy.
like 250. He went for like 250 on them boys. Like he had.
His route running is actually pretty crazy. So
My God. It's like, come on, man.
No, he genuinely has an argument to be one of the more most underrated wide receivers, and because nobody talks about him, but you watch him, that dude is damn good, man.
He's Mike Gundy's wet dream. Like Mike Gundy always dreams about having a quote unquote a Caucasian persuasion, a wide receiver out there making stuff happen. So that's Mike Gundy's wet dream right there.
Lad is the truth, though, man. This is junior year.
He is.
He's the truth.
That's why he was first team All SEC.
Hey, Steven didn't laugh because Steven was like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait! Oh, I see what you're doing now. Yeah, it's true.
He's the truth, man.
It's true.
God, Lee, man, Georgia's stacked, dude. I'm tired of talking about Georgia. He's too stacked.
That guy, look, Dominic Lovett had a quiet 83 yards last game.
Lad over there with 250 on them boys last game, 242, just cooking. Over there whipping up like freaking Raekwon the chef, man. It's just ridiculous, man.
Georgia's I mean, this game's huge, right? I mean, Georgia's ranked 2, Missouri's ranked 12, right?
Yeah, 12, yeah.
Georgia's 15.5 point favorite.
That's a damn shame.
And Missouri's having, again, their best.
I don't know.
Look here, man. Let's just go ahead and say this. The SEC championship game is going to be Georgia versus Alabama. I think Alabama finishes this. I do. I think Alabama wins the rest of their games, and it's going to be Georgia versus Bama, and it's going to be a hell of a ride. It's going to be a hell of a game. I don't see anybody beating Bama until you get to the SEC championship.
I don't know.
I'm not ready to say that until after the LSU game.
I'm not ready to say that until after the Iron Bowl.
You can go to hell.
I just think, look, man, LSU's defense is just so porous, man. I just haven't seen a defense like that. I mean, where's it at? Is it at Bama this year?
Which one?
Is that Bama?
LSU? Yeah, no, it's in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, man, cook grits. Cook grits, bro.
But the Iron Bowl isn't the Iron Bowl.
With a side of
The
sauce,
Iron
just
Bowl is at
cheese
Jordan
eggs.
Hare.
Yeah, the Iron Bowl is at Jordan Hare.
Hey, Ty, you know how Steven and Nick, I need y'all to referee that episode of the SEC Connect, because when we get to that point, it's me and Ty. Imano.
Hey, before we before we sign off, Chris, you guys are having your last is the last Bedlam this week. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty damn good, man. I mean, people are acting like the wheels just fell off and now we can't do anything right. And we're about to go and face a team that, lost to South Alabama earlier in the year and still has some of the same glaring problems. They've just turned it around.
There has been a massive overreaction.
Yeah, it's been a massive overreaction, but I'm fine, man. I think if we could get Jet Levy to go back to Jeff Levy, I think that we would be okay. But I mean, it's a look in the mirror. But I'm excited about what's to come. It's still a lot on the table, man. I think this is gonna snap us right back into it. So I'm with it, man.
I think you guys will be fine.
Yeah, look, we've been here before. If you guys remember what was going on with Lincoln when he was here, we drop a game to Texas, drop a game to Iowa State, drop a game to Texas Tech, and then all of a sudden you got to get the championship November. Then let's see what's going on try to make it to Arlington. That's the biggest thing right now. That's what's in front of this team. So I think Venables is going to get everything right. I think that we will get things right. There were plenty of opportunities to win that game. You were just incapable of running plays that made sense the drive before the final drive after you got the interception. So even though you may play your worst game, you had opportunities to win. So that's on you more than anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't stop that backup quarterback.
Y'all watch that video I just sent y'all. I got to see y'all's reactions.
Hey,
we got to watch it on air.
Since Nick is doing that.
Hold on.
I don't want to hear it, Chris. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear shit.
Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Horns Down Podcast. Hey, Nino's Corner is on, special guest.
I don't want to hear nothing.
Nick, it's going to be me and you tomorrow, baby boy.
I'm just saying, you couldn't stop that backup quarterback.
Hey, but yeah, Ty, it's me and you doing the Iron Bowl week. Beef.
Let me see if I can play.
I'm not worried about you.
Hold on. Let me share the screen so that we can see this before we head out.
Oh, if you can, this is so fucking funny, dude.
Oh, you're just gonna play it on screen. That's even better.
All right, you guys ready?
Did you just puke?
Yeah.
Go all the way back.
I'm live.
What?
We're here on the air.
Are you
Salsa up there. I ruined Sheldon's boots.
Bro, what the
I warned your viewers. We're gonna scoop.
Let it replay. Here you go.
What was did you just puke?
Yeah. I'm live. We're here on the air.
Are you
Salsa up there. I ruined Sheldon's boots.
Bro, what the
I warned your viewers. We're gonna scoop that.
It's the gag that gets me every time.
Bruh.
Oh my God. All right, man. Look, it's 7:20. I know Steven got to get somewhere, right? You gotta go to a party tonight for the game.
Yeah.
Go
Rangers. Oh man, that was epic.
You're gonna meet someone like that tonight.
Oh my God.
You're gonna meet someone like that.
Dude, I'm about to get a beer. I'm gonna get a shiner right quick. Oh man, that's hilarious.
All right, y'all.
All right, man. We out, man. SEC